What's going on YouTube? This is King of Arkham at twitch.tv at King of Arkham. Today I'm going to bring to you my Mag PvP Sorcerer build. I've been using it for the past couple of months. Worked out pretty well for me. Has a really good magic recovery with Lich, and then a pretty good max Magicka and decent spell damage. So going right into it, I'm using 5 Lich, 5 Shackle Breaker, and then 2 Torx Pact. So how it works out is that my back bar Resto Staff, it's going to be where I have my Lich, that when I go back for my heal, it procs my Lich, giving that good recovery that you're going to see in a couple minutes. Front bar is going to be my Torx Pact Inferno Staff with the Nerdhone trait. Helmet's going to be Torx Pact, that way I have that 2-piece. With the 2-piece it gives me and adds 129 spell damage. So that way when I go to my front bar, I'm doing my main DPS. Chest, shoulder, waist, hands, and legs are going to be my Shackle Breaker. And then boots and jewelry are going to be what gives me that 5-piece Lich when I go to my back bar. Alright, as far as traits go, it doesn't really matter. Divines works for you, Impen works as well. The main thing you want to have is that you want to have your big pieces, which is your chest, and then your legs. You want to have that infused. That way you have a bigger buff from your max Magicka. Alright, going straight into it, I'm going to give you my stats real quick. So this is obviously with Lich procced, and then this is obviously if you have a resource cap, you get that that continues attack for 10 minutes, giving the extra buff. Alright, so we're looking at 40,000 max Magicka, 4,700, just almost at 4,800 magic recovery, and then 3,200 spell damage. So pretty decent right there. Once again, going to it, you want to have a tri-stat food, continuous attack. So that you get this for 10 minutes once you take over a resource or a keep. For 10 whole minutes, you get an extra buff with recovery, and then spell or spell damage or weapon damage, depending on which class you're on. And then obviously stage 4 vampirism is what I use. You don't have to, depending on how you play. I like it because I get to have shields that kind of negate some of the actual flame damage that I would receive from a Destro ult or so on and so forth. Alright, so going into skills. So front bar, I got my Crushing Shock being my main DPS that I use. So I usually intertwine this with a heavy attack. I do heavy attack, Crushing Shock, heavy attack, Crushing Shock. You could use the other mode of Crushing Shock being Force Pulse. I see more Force Pulse being used because it hits harder, more for PvE. But Crushing Shock with the interrupt is definitely more useful in PvP. But obviously, you play how you want to play. Your main execute is going to be your Mage Wrath, or the other form be Endless Fury. Endless Fury gives you back resources upon kill. Mage Wrath hits harder, so I use the one that hits a little harder because I already have plenty of good resources. Crystal Frag, even with the nerf, it still hits pretty hard. Even if you get like an insta frag, it still hits about between what you have on, about 10 to 13k is what I've been seeing mine hit on. And then your Curse, so you want to start most fights with a heavy attack Curse, and then usually with the Crushing Shock heavy attack combo until you get him down to execute range, then hit him with that Mage Wrath. Hardened Ward being your front bar ward that you want to use. You don't have to use a shield in your front bar. I just find it to be very useful. And then Ice Comet being my ultimate. Ice Comet's pretty useful. It's a pretty hard-hitting ultimate. Definitely with the last patch, they actually made it so where it's a unblockable stun, so you can't roll dodge out of it. But mainly I use this on my front bar because with this Mage Guild ability, you get that Mage Guild passive, which is once you equip a Mage Guild ability onto any bar, you get that ability times 2. So I'll show you right now. So Mage Guild, it would activate this ability right here. Increase your max Magicka and magic recovery by 2% for each Mage Guild ability slotted. So I get 2% for having that slotted. If you don't like Meteor, or you don't want to farm for all the scrolls and all the lore books, you can definitely put Soul Salt as a good one. Definitely fighting a stand class, Soul Salt works pretty well. To hit him with a Cursed Frag or Curse Endless Fury with a Soul Salt and usually a pop, and hit him roughly for about 25k. And you'll probably win most fights with just doing that combination alone, about 80% of the fights depending on who you're fighting. So back bar. Going into your stun Rune Cage. So this got a pretty decent buff last patch. I usually use Mines depending on who you're fighting. Mine works pretty well for Nightblades, but for most other 80% of the people you're going to be fighting out there, Rune Cage works pretty well. What it does before it got buffed, before You cast out any ability, any person, and as soon as you do direct damage, it breaks the ability. But now you cast it on another player, and it hits them straight to the ground, and you can still do damage to them without breaking the actual cast itself. So if you're in a long sustained fight with a Magicka class, it definitely proves useful if that fight gets drawn out and they have less stand to recovery. So putting this on until the end of the fight may actually win you the fight. But if you don't want to use this, you definitely use mines or whatever you want to use. Dampen Magicka, you can intertwine this with this is your light armor tree shield. Dampen Magicka works because it's a bigger shield, or you can use Harness Magicka, which gives you resources back depending if you're fighting a magic caster. Healing wards can be your main heal. You want to use this in conjunction with your other wards and other shields. That way it masks this, and that way you get that 300% pop, getting that hopefully that full health back in the middle of a fight. Streak being your stun, you can use this. You can use this, or you can use Elusive Mist, depending on how you want to fight the fight. And then Power Surge being your main buff that gives you your main buff. You can use this, or you can use Entropy, depending on how you want to fight as well. And then I use Energy Overload just because I want my third bar. I don't mainly use my third bar in a fight. I only use it because I want to get around Cyrodiil. Cyrodiil is a big place, and I want to make sure that I travel a little faster than most. So in my third bar, I got Rapid Maneuvers. That way I can kind of move my mount a little faster. Dampen Magicka again. Dark Conversion. That way if I am feeling that I have more stamina than Magicka, I can dip into and pull and extract my stamina for Magicka and health. Streak, and then Balance Storm for the extra takiness. If you don't like Energy Overload, you could use Resto Staff. I actually prefer Resto Staff in a fight because it does help you and does save your behind a lot. So go into your actual tree. What we got going on for CP. So main thing to do with CP, you gotta know is that a few patches ago they made it so where you have to have a little bit above a full point. What I mean by that, so say you have 7% 0.89, right? It's gonna round down to that 7%. So putting the extra points to get that 0.89 won't benefit you at all. You want to make sure you take those points out and then spread them out between other trees because it's just going to round down. So you want to make sure you have just above a full percent. So right here I have 11.10%. It's going to round down to 11%. So I have 49, 61 to break free. Definitely helps me in a fight with everyone having stuns. 11, 11. So me being a vampire, I put a little bit into having more recovery and a little bit for health. It doesn't really help me very much, but I didn't want to put all my stuff and all my stats into magic recovery. You could if you want, but I needed more stamina recovery as well, being a magic class, and everyone's constantly CCing you to the ground, especially if you're fighting a DK. 49 points into so pretty much this helps you, but you don't need to put as much as I did because you already have Lich proc that's going to help you anyway. So you can definitely spread this around elsewhere. It worked out for me, so that's why I continue to use it. And then 26 in Tumbling. So you can definitely take out the points from here and put it in Tumbling. That way you can constantly roll dodge like I do. And then 20. Go into your blue tree. So this is where you want to kind of test how your build works out for you. This has tested and worked out for me. That's why I kept it. But definitely to each his own. Try it out and see how it works out for you. 27 to Bless, 20 to Elfborn, 56 into Element Expert, and then 43 into Spell Erosion. So these two you can kind of interchange between the two, but once again, this worked out for me. The biggest thing you want to put into is Master at Arms. Increases your damage done with direct damage attacks, and then this caps at 25%. So the more points you put into this, the better, versus putting all your points into Element Expert because this caps at 15%. So you benefit more from having a Master of Arms. And then for me, I put a little bit of points in Staff Expert. I usually start most fights with a heavy attack curse combo, and then I'm constantly using my my light and heavy attacks with my crushing shock in between fights. So having more hard hitting light and heavy attacks works out for me. None in here. This pretty much focuses on stam classes. All right, the last tree, your red tree, is going to be 12, 11, 25 into resistant. Now, you want to put a little bit into Hardy and an Element of Defender because you are going to be a vampire if you do choose to become a vampire. So having more to kind of help you protect you from the elements like a Destro ult will definitely be more beneficial. But as a sorcerer, the main thing you want to have is more points in the Bastion. This increases the effectiveness of your damage shields. So as a sorcerer class, you have shields. That's pretty much how you stay in fights. So the harder and bigger your shields are, the more tanky you are in a fight, and the harder it is for you to get killed. So definitely try that. And then 32 in recovery. This works out for me. You only have 1 heal, so the more that you get healed at once, the better it is for you. Alright guys, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the class itself. Once again, this class is very unique. I like it. You don't have to use Thorax Pack. You can use a monster set if you want to actually have a Shackle Breaker staff on the front bar, and thus having a monster set like Bone Pirate, whatever you want to use. This works out for me. That's why I wanted to share it. If you have any questions, please feel free to put a link in the comments, or if you have tips or anything that worked out for you that I can possibly improve my stuff on, please put a comment down below and let me know. If you do like what this build is, please subscribe to the channel. Help me grow as an individual. This is my first YouTube video, so I'm pretty excited about it. Other than that, guys, I'll see you guys out there. Once again, I do stream on twitch.tv at King of Arkham. So stop on by, say hello. I hope to see you guys there, alright? Take care, guys.